Hey everybody, Brendan here. Welcome back to a new video. Today we are going to be covering game number 2 in our 9th tournament, and this is the Road to Chess Mastery. I am now playing against Liu. I won my first game in a very interesting Sicilian defense where I had a nice tactic that won a pawn, and it ended up converting in an endgame. Now, here I am playing with the white pieces, and I think this is also a very instructive game. Not for the reason of conversion, rather for the reason of strategical play in the middle game. And let's see how the play continues. I played e4 as should be expected. This is something that I was very familiar with, and e6. And already I was like, come on man, just stop. Please, please let me play positions I actually care about. And then d4, d5, and I normally would take, at least after these types of games, I ended up just employing e takes on d5 in tournament play just because it was easier and it was a lot more straightforward, so I was a lot less worried about that. But okay, d5, I played knight to c3. I went for regular play, saying, hey, why not? Let's play French. And this is what I was more comfortable with. However, again, even at this point, I pretty much never studied any of these lines ever, so this is already kind of dubious for me because e takes d5 is a very easy position to play. But okay, knight to f6, e5, knight f to d7. Black's idea is they want to play c5 and get queenside play. We see f4 from me. This is just something I was used to playing. I wasn't really sure why I played it. It looked like a comfortable move. This is a very double-edged move, and if you really, in reality, if you play a move like this, you should know the ins and outs of the positions. However, I didn't. I would say if you're looking for a natural game, just play something like knight f3, bishop d3, bishop e3, and then just castle. Just go for a normal position, even bishop f4, but just develop your pieces naturally. It's not going to be anything crazy, and you're not going to likely get a huge advantage out of the opening. If you just play regular development moves and don't go for the theoretically best moves in every single position, it still offers good play, and you still get that space advantage and get to play against the bad bishop on c8. But okay, f4, c5, knight to f3, and knight to c6. Here I played bishop to e3. It was what I was used to. I was always scared of these queen b6 moves because they attack b2, and it's just uncomfortable for me. So a6 and queen to d2, bishop to e7, and d takes on c5. I thought this would be a good move. It's okay. It's an okay move. It's not amazing or anything. It gets the job done, as you can say. And after takes, realistically, a move here that I could play is bishop takes c5, takes, and a surprising move, queen to f2. The reason why this is surprising is because, well, why queen f2? Sure, you attack the knight, but there's always like queen b6, or there's always knight back to d7. But the whole point of this move actually is you need to ask yourself where you have an advantage. And if you look at the pawn structure here, white has a pawn on e5. And in these types of positions where white has a pawn on e5 and a pawn on d4, you can tell that white is going for kingside play. And this is why f4 is such a useful move, because f5 is an idea. However, it didn't go as great as I wanted it to in the game. However, there was actually a winning chance, but we will get to that. I played a3 instead, and this is on the wrong side of the board. So I'm going to say this move was a mistake, just because strategically, it's not a move that matters in the position. If I really wanted to make a good move, for example, castling is quite okay here actually. This is completely playable. But these positions with a3, the problem is now I don't really want to castle this way on queenside because, b5, b4 is very, very fast and can be dangerous. And all I did with a3 was just create a weakness. It's not really, it looks like it's improving the position because it controls these two pieces. However, it's honestly really not, because the whole These two pieces are already doing exactly what they need to be doing, and what they're doing is they're controlling the d4 square. This is one of the key squares for black to control, surprisingly, but it is very important. And let's see how play continues from here. Castles and castles, and now I'm definitely slightly worse here because, well, I just castled and I just created a weakness. Black has no weaknesses. I wasted a move. You can say, since I wasted a move, you could say black actually has the white pieces in this case. It sounds a little weird, but essentially when you waste a move, you should think of it like, okay, what if black's position, or what if my position was something that black had, and black had white with their current position, right? You would say, okay, well, they definitely have a much better plan than we do. And it's a strange way of thinking, but it's actually very useful, where, again, it's just a waste of a move and just weakens my position. But let's continue. We see b5, and we're already seeing what's happening here. They are coming after my king, and this is very scary. I played bishop takes c5. I was already quite worried. I thought this might be a bit better. Just trying to trade off one of their pieces, and maybe even another with knight to d4. Try to relieve the pressure on the queen side. However, the problem with this is I'm playing on the queen side when that is where they want to play. You should not be playing on the same board as your opponent unless there's like very, very precise lines that actually either benefit you or defend your position. Because it's opposite side castling, you want to attack on the side of your opponent's king, not your own. If you attack on the side of your own king, oftentimes, except there can be some situations, but oftentimes the issue with that is that you're just opening lines against your own king, and it's exactly what you do not want to do. So, okay, this is just strategically not something that makes a lot of sense if we think of things like that. Knight takes e5, and I played f5. Reasonably, this makes sense. It's going for some chances. They can always consider taking. The problem is, after taking, then I can take on d5, and it opens the position, and it should be okay for me. But they played the move b4, and this, surprisingly, is a mistake. And let's explain why here. Now the king is actually weak because we can create a weakness on their dark squares. They have no dark squared bishop, and there's the move f6 in the position. However, it is okay here. We can actually sacrifice the piece because queen g5, but we can just take, and they can't take back. And let's see why. After takes, f6, okay, but g takes, right? And if we take back, then queen takes. Well, yeah, and that would be better for black. However, the move queen to h6, very tricky, and all of a sudden, how do you prevent taking on f6? How do you prevent knight to g5? How do you prevent rook d4 to h4 all of a sudden? One line is, for example, if king h8, then just rook d4, you attack the knight, and now rook h4 is coming. So you can't even do this because this will just be mate, queen to f8 with checkmate. But turns out that white has a serious initiative after taking on b4. And f6 is just very problematic for black. But okay. I played knight to b1. And this was not the right approach. I did not like f6. I was a little scared. I didn't see what to do after b4. I was looking at f6 here, I believe. And I did not want to take because it improves their knight. In reality, that was okay to do. I think I was scared of some, after knight b4, some queen a5 lines though. But realistically, I should have just gone for f6, and this is much better for me. But knight b1, and now they get an initiative against my king. They played knight e4, improving their piece. It's a beautiful piece on e4. What can you say? Queen to e1, b takes a3, knight takes a3, and now we see the issue. I was playing on the wrong side of the board, and all of a sudden, the lines are open against my king. I really am way too slow to play against theirs, and realistically this is strategically losing. E takes f5, bishop to d3, bishop e6, h4, maybe going for a knight g5 in the future, queen b6, take on e4, it's their best piece in the position, so strategically, often what you'll want to do is trade off their best piece. However, after f takes e4, they also get a pretty good position, as there's always d4 ideas in the air, and I can't play knight d4 because the square is controlled too many times by black. I ended up playing knight g5, just going for some fake initiative of some sort. But after we see here, rook a to b8, b3, we can clearly see this has to be losing at some point. Queen to c5, king b2, knight takes e5, and now they are 2 pawns up, and they have an attack against my king. I was ready to resign here. I played one more move, maybe going for a queen to h5, but after bishop to g4, I ended up just resigning, as well they're winning the exchange, as well as being 2 pawns up, and there's not really much you can do about it. So it was an unfortunate game, very, very instructive. However, I think the lesson we have to take away from this is don't make useless moves, but more importantly, how do you know a move is useless? If it's not playing to your strengths. And playing to your strengths means if there's opposite side castling, attack or make moves on your opponent's side of the board, or the where your opponent's king is. So my opponent's king was on the king side, and I needed to attack on the king side. I was making moves on the queen side where my king was, and that is what ended up making me lose the game. So that's essentially it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you found this instructive, well, I'm very happy to hear that. And well, we'll see you in game 3. I'm now in 1 out of 2, but even score is still quite good, I would say. Anyways, I'll see you then. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.